In yesterday's video, we checked out the potential link-up between Joe Rogan having Andrew Tate on his podcast, which the entire world is anticipating. Although, through some further research, it may actually seem that Joe Rogan may not be as big as a fan as we all thought, as on a recent episode he had some words for the top G, which we'll check out in today's video. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video, that way you don't miss out on any key information. Welcome back to Loaf. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and switch on the notification bell to receive updates on new celebrity videos. Let's jump right into the video and find out Joe Rogan's real opinion on the top G. Joe Rogan's honest thoughts on Andrew Tate. On a September 3rd episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, the UFC color commentator and podcast host claimed that he believed former kickboxer Tate fucked up with the misogyny thing. Tate's extremely misogynistic and inflammatory remarks toward marginalized groups led to his removal from a number of social media platforms, including Instagram and Facebook, as we all know by now. Speaking to guests Eddie Bravo, Brendan Schaub, and Brian Callen, he said, if he didn't do that, if he just did the pro-male stuff and, you know, the pro-accountability and pro-discipline stuff, that's a good lesson for people to learn. The problem is the other shit. Rogan also said during the session that he still valued Tate's work ethic despite his multiple misogynistic and anti-LGBTQ+ remarks. There's this video where he goes, "The way I think in the morning about how I feel has no bearing on what I do." He goes, "I do everything I'm supposed to do. I get up, and if I don't feel good, I still work out. I still go to work." He goes, "Because that's how you go ahead in this life. If you just concentrate entirely on your feelings, you're never going to fucking get anywhere." The group then briefly spoke about the controversial clip of Andrew Tate hitting his girlfriend at the time, which eventually she stated was consensual. We watched it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what is he doing? Schaub said during the segment, "We didn't have context, so we were like, that ain't good. Yeah, he's fucked." But then once you realize she came out and said, "No, that's what we're into," we're like, fair enough. Tate's ex-girlfriend later opened up about the clip shortly after it was published in a video saying, "I just wanted to let you know that this has all been a huge misunderstanding. That's what we used to do." Before we go any further into the video, what's your guys' honest thoughts on Andrew Tate? And would you like to see him appear on PowerfulJRE anytime soon? Or has his time passed? Andrew Tate on Joe Rogan. For those that haven't seen yesterday's video, we'll briefly check out the clip where Andrew Tate reveals he would most certainly be open to appearing on Joe Rogan's podcast and believes it's only a matter of time before he goes on there.
Shout out to Joe Rogan and his boys.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that the other people on the show let Joe know that it was completely consensual, because that's the thing. I understand if something's taken out of context, it can be misinterpreted. That's what I said in my final message. Things are taken out of context and can be absolutely and utterly misinterpreted. And that's why they tried to silence me, because I was fixing all of the narratives they were trying to paint about me. So they tried to silence me, but they have failed. But I think Joe and I at some point in the future are going to have a nice long conversation. I have a feeling it's going to be a very interesting time.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. It's probably the only thing I'd bother traveling to America for. So I look forward to getting in touch with Joe again.
You can clearly see Tate has high respects for Rogan, as he didn't just throw him under the bus when he got canceled of almost every single app that has ever been made. Even Tate and Rogan fans can't wait to see the podcast happen. We'll post like, "Joe is the only podcast YouTube creator in the world who can platform Andrew right now without fear of being deplatformed himself. Andrew Tate and Joe Rogan would be the best podcast episode in history. I can't think of anyone better than that. I hope Joe has him on, more than anything, but I seriously doubt that it would happen. I heard Joe speak about him the other day on his show, and he didn't sound like he was for it or against it, which means it's unlikely he'll be invited. It sucks because I love both, and this needs to happen. It all comes down to whether or not Tate maintains his relevancy, which of course is 100 times harder. He doesn't have the visibility, although he does still appear on the TikTok FYP, which is what made him relevant, so who knows. Joe Rogan reveals he's open to have Tate on his podcast. Then for the last clip, on Joe's podcast a couple of days back, he did say he was open to the idea of having Andrew Tate on his podcast in the near future, and that there's a conversation to be had there.
Would you ever have Tate on your podcast?
It's a conversation, right?
Yeah. You know,
especially now.
Over the next few weeks, or even months, do you believe Andrew Tate will be able to maintain his relevance? That is the big question. If he somehow does, I can most definitely see the Joe Rogan and Andrew Tate podcast become reality, as whether you like Tate or not, he seems to have diehard fans very similar to Joe in that respect. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to Loaf for future celebrity videos, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.